Hi there, everybody, and welcome to Roll with Advantage. Very excited to be here for tonight's session of the Salamander Coast. Let's go ahead and roll the intro and get started. Yeah, this might be.
What I'm fucking doing, but I'm trying every fucking day.
I would have never even met you.
Sure, it's a very lengthy repertoire. But
a powerful warrior, which, I definitely agree with you on, but
And we are back.
Gotta have
So,
a cool dad.
thank you so much for tuning in. So, as is tradition here on Roll with Advantage, it is not I that does the summary, it is the players that do the summary. So, this week on summary is Gemma. Gemma, I'm letting you know right now, I'm going to send you, I'm going to respond to your message. So, if you get a Discord message while you're summarizing, do not panic. It's just me.
I will be completely distracted.
Okay, all right. Well, then take it away.
Yeah, she's a long one, Soz. But yeah. So, last session. Suni and Sultana talk. Sultana no longer wishing to keep distance between them, and instead wanting to forge a new destiny for themselves, against the one that has been fated across their past lives, each throwing their respective heartbeat rings from the mountaintop as a symbol of this. Sultana also offers to help reconnect Suni with his past, the two once more performing the dance they did in Brumsgrove. There's the message. Taking them back through time in flashes to the first performance of the dance between two dragons rather than their dragonborn selves. Suni reconnected and theoretically able to communicate with his past lives. That was... It's okay, sorry. Both of them also realize that their connection to each other goes beyond that of their dragonborn nature, and to being a different kind of soulmate. Despite their best wishes, however, Sultana will need to at least keep a physical distance, not wanting to get Suni or the rest of the party caught in the crossfires of the danger that she will surely be facing after going against Tiamat. She does, however, accompany him and the travelling party back to Meister. On their journey back, Bianca and Suni talk about what happened, Suni bringing up Liliana's suggestion of working through his past and his emotions alone, both something that they're generally in opposition to. Suni valuing the connections he has to the others and his renewed love he holds for Sultana too greatly. They also read the old tongue text that they found, and it is talking about the relationship between the Dark One and the Creator, as well as a potential balance to be found between them. Back in Meister, Carousel checks on Suna to gauge her feelings of returning to Atarashi, where the party plans to head to next. There is a lot of trepidation from her about her past there, but Suna promises that she'll share more soon, although she does admit that she was exiled from Atarashi for doing something that she had believed to be right. Returning would mean a sentence of execution, but she assures her that no one would be able to recognize her, she also still wishes to continue with the party. Cecily and Tia have some more father-daughter time, Cecily asking for any insights he'd have about her connection with Poe. He suggests that there may be a greater force willing them to stay together regardless of the distance they have, assuring her that it's also a connection that she too should seek and to foster, even if her longevity from the old blood may mean that she'd have to continue and live past Poe. Tia also pulls a little prank on Cecily, promising that she could learn Terran by eating some dirt. She doesn't. She just eats dirt. Carousel invites Alton out to a tavern one evening to show him more about music and to do a little drinking and dancing. He thanking her for showing him happiness and kindness previously denied to him in the Underdark. The travelling party return, with all the Wanderers now back together again, aside from Ajax, who had been a bit more distant, often leaving to the forest outside the city. Those there, however, are introduced to Sultana and are filled in about events. Bianca then heads out to look for Ajax, finding him at a makeshift shrine to Paylor. He is frustrated at the seeming abandonment from his god, and refuses a lot of the advice that Bianca tries to give him, alongside with the weapons that had been imbued with Paylor's and Leos's divine energy. Ajax eventually snaps at Bianca, bringing up her own failure to the Raven Queen and her switch to worshipping Hades instead. The harsh words send Bianca into a retreat, leaving Ajax alone, where a voice, supposedly Ajax's subconscious, capitalizes on this, reaffirming his words and urging him to hunt. Bianca returns to the rest of the party, sharing what happened and Ajax's strange behavior. They all decide to go and seek him out together, Cecily and Bianca to hang back and try not to overwhelm him. But it quickly backfires as Ajax is able to detect all their presences. And unknowingly to all, even Ajax himself, the other voice was able to then drive the conversation that happened, emphasizing the hurt that Ajax is facing and his need for space and alone time. Carousella tries to talk with Ajax alone, however this conversation is similarly corrupted by this unknown voice. It threatens that they should be afraid of this unknown before altering the memory of the conversation to then being an agreement for the respect for Ajax's space. We then had a cheeky little cutscene continuing in the forest after the party had all left, including Ajax, with two of the Forsaken, Mez and Kelnos, and everyone, also known as It, discussing their watch over the party, including previous infiltration and learning of the previous deal the party had made with Malice. Finally, that night, Ajax finds himself at the end of a slip in consciousness, covered in blood, though certainly not his own, and in possession of two powerful hammers of astral, potentially divine origin. Perhaps another entity coming to fill Paylor's place. That's done.
Alrighty, thank you so much. And in fact, that moment is exactly where we're going to pick up. The forest. That night, Ajax, you sit in front of this small stream as water flows past you. As I need to re-enable streamer mode. I realize now. Because the Discord blip just went through. Jim? Okay. So, Ajax, as you sit there, the evening air is cool. You begin to feel this warm, shimmering light. At least this is how you remember it. The tranquil scene by the river is interrupted by the soft tinkling of metal. Sound like a distant smithy at work. This fog that rolls through in front of you shifts and changes, and then eventually emerges from the haze a magnificent figure, standing tall against this fading glow. Adorned in this burnished bronze armor with intricate designs reminiscent of mighty battles and triumphant warriors. You've seen many, many, many depictions of this individual before, back in your home of Thrall. In front of you stands, and with no shadow of a doubt in your mind, Ares, the Thrallian god of war. His powerful frame radiates with this aura of a commanding presence. His deep-set eyes possess this fierce glint, that of a seasoned warrior, something that you yourself share. Draped across his back is a crimson cape that seems to flicker and dance with the eternal and ethereal flames of war. For a moment, you think the last thing you remembered was holding the hammers, but now you think, what hammers? as he extends his hands. And there are these two breathtaking yet beautiful and menacing hammers that materialize out of the very essence of the world around him as he speaks. Ajax. His voice booms, echoing with the sounds of countless battles. I have watched your journey, your relentless pursuit of power and vengeance. My father Zeus has taken notice of your formidable spirit as well. What you did to those bandits in Thrall, harassing lonely old man. You showed a brutality. A story will echo through that village and onward. That brutality will save many lives in the future. See him take a step closer to you. The ground beneath his feet, it resonates with each step. These hammers, I wish to gift them to you. They have been forged in the heart of conflict. They echo with the might and wrath of heavens. They will guide your hand, fuel your path, suiting one of relentless ambition and strength, such as yourself. You see him pause, looking to the bloodied weapons you currently hold in your hands, the spear and the shield. But great power, it requires a sacrifice. Surrender these weapons made by the dwarves that connect you to Pelor. Accept these hammers and embrace the power that have been gifted to you by your gods, the ones of your home. Pelor has not been there for you. He has not supported you. But I am here, Jax. I will give you the tools you need to succeed in your journey. You see his eyes darken slightly. There's this hint of caution and concern in his voice. But I must warn you, Ajax. Be wary of Bianca's allegiance to Hades. While she may not have thought there was harm in making a deal with someone like him, you must remember the tale of Persephone. That innocence that was ensnared. Stay wary, lest you wish to see her fall into a similar snare. Care for her. Show her compassion and hope that one day she will be willing to cast him aside. As the weight of his words sort of settle in, you see Ares extend the hammers towards you, Ajax, awaiting your decision. As he gestures the hammers out to you.
Why me? There are many others in this world.
You have a gift. One that I'm surprised you have not yet come to terms with. You, my friend, have an unrelenting spirit.
You were gone from this world. Shattered, broken, nearly consumed by the abyss. But yet you crawled your way from its cold clutches and returned to this place. It is truly remarkable what you were able to accomplish. You had help from your friends, yes. But what are we without our companions? You are special. And you show great promise. Should you use these gifts well, then Zeus himself may look upon you favorably. Perhaps he may be able to undo what has happened to you.
What do you need in return? Your gift is very appreciated, but what do I need to sacrifice?
For one, the weapons that connect you to Palo.
They are not mine to sacrifice. Bianca laid claim to them.
You need not give them to me. Simply swearing off them is good enough for me. Should you no longer wield those weapons, then you will not violate this offer. I do not wish to cause strife between you and your companions. In fact, I wish to offer you a path to mend it as quickly as possible. Paylor seems to make you angry. I would be too. Such a devout follower as you have been, to be so brazenly ignored. It is cruel, even for a god.
Then Zeus can help me get rid of this.
Yes, he can. Once a century, my father is able to harness the power of wind, of storm, of cloud, of the very thread of being itself, and change that pattern to be what he wishes to be. Should you prove worthy, he would do this for you.
And I would fight under your banner.
You would.
I accept.
You make me a very happy man on this day, Ajax. The gods, your gods, smile upon you.
As he looks to you and smiles, and if you'd like to say anything, you can.
Apologize You had mentioned Hades. Does he mean harm to Bianca?
You see a look of concern grow on his face.
Know not what his plan is. Hades is clever. And I can admit my weaknesses. I am not nearly as clever as he. I know not what his plan is, but what I do know is that Hades does seldom, if he cannot help himself. He is not helping Bianca out of the goodness of his heart. He wishes something from her. And what would alarm me most is if he has not told her the terms of this deal. All I want from you, Ajax, is to display honor, valor, bravery, and brutality on the field of battle. That is enough for me. But if Hades has made no demands, offered no goods and services that she must do, how long will the bill run before he demands payment?
Thank you. It is an honor to be your champion.
It is an honor to have such a formidable spirit pledge themselves to me.
I'll go ahead. I
And
forgot to do this. Aries out of
grabs-
the chat.
he holds his hands out for the hammers.
Yep. You can see Ares. He gives them to you. And as he does, you can feel from the haft of the hammers, these spectral chains begin to grow and wrap around your arms. And you can feel it singe for a moment, not in pain, but in discomfort. As you see the chains sort of seep into your forearms, and the hammers themselves shrink down and seep into your palms. As a free action, you can conjure the hammers whenever you want. So they are concealed otherwise, too.
I am now Kratos, god of war.
Oh, whoa,
It actually just
there's already a
bow.
god of war, all right?
Soon to be god of war.
So,
Ajax bows. Just kind of sits. He kind of just stays in a bowed position, I guess, until Ares dismisses him or
Yeah.
dismisses himself.
the last thing Ares will say in this moment is,
Remember, Ajax, your companions care a great deal for you. A wound has been opened, and it must close. For you must be there, and you must be prepared to face Draven Hunt in Altarashi with your companions.
I will.
Good.
and with that, you can see he smiles and nods down towards you. And you can see that sort of mist envelop him again, but this time you swear that the mist looks like a cavalry charge rushing across him. This echo of war as it consumes him and the fog fades away as he no longer stands there in front of you as you sit in this dark forest by yourself.
Question.
Yeah.
there a body nearby from where the blood came from?
Nope.
Okay. I think Ajax is going to stand there and just kind of think and conjure the hammers. And then just look at them, kind of smile, and then make them disappear. He's going to clean up the spear and shield, and he's going to head back to where the party is sleeping. I think he's going to try when he gets there. Hopefully Bianca is asleep. Is going to place the spear and shield gently next to her bedside. And then go lay in his bed and just stare up at the ceiling because he can't sleep. So, and last thing, disguise ring. He's going to look like normal Ajax.
Okay. Alrighty. Very good. So, with that, Ajax, you sit and wait as eventually we return to Maester that morning. A fireplace in the keep crackling to maintain an even temperature amongst the entire area as the rest of our companions eventually wake up. So Ajax, as everybody wakes up on this morning, where are you at? Are you in the keep?
Yeah, he's laying in his bed.
Okay. So as all of you wake up and you begin to investigate the area around you, especially after the tense day that was yesterday. For one, Bianca, next to your bed in the area where you sleep, you can see the shield and spear have been propped up next to it. And all of you are able to see Ajax, instead of wandering off in the morning to be out in the woods, is here with all of you. You see him in his normal form, not the undead visage that you, I don't want to say grown used to, but you've at least grown more used to. You see he sits there, looking to all of you as all of you look to him.
Good morning.
Morning. Well,
Did
does anyone have anything they need to do before we head out?
Well, I have something. Kind of an announcement thing, I guess. If we want to do that.
Go for it.
Okay, and she'll kind of stand up and flick her wrists a little bit. So look, I didn't know when to bring this up because it didn't seem very important. But a little bit before we did the siege, I kind of formed a primordial connection with Poe. So I've been, talking to him a little bit, and it's like, kind of like the sending thing that Karasilla can do, but not great. It doesn't matter. Anyway, before we go to Adarashi, I just wanted everybody to know that, and I want to ask you, Karasilla, if we can send something to him real quick. Just to, make sure he's alive, nothing else.
Of course. I mean, are you not able to contact him already? Was that not what the whole announcement was?
Okay, see, I see how that was confusing. What happened last time, don't freak out, is that after we were done talking, it sounded like him and the Alec, that's her name, they were in some sort of trouble, and they ran off, and then in the water, where I can normally talk to him, there was like a little spot of blood. So, it's figure we should check. I mean, I'm sure he's fine. If he wasn't fine, I don't know how to explain it, but I would feel something if he wasn't fine, because we're connected now, which is, I don't want to talk about that, but I think he's fine. I just want to check. I just want to make sure he's fine. I just want to see what's going on. That's all.
I get it. Can absolutely do that. And I will also say that if perhaps there's not enough information that comes through the sending, could always try scrying as well. I admit I'd already planned on maybe seeing if we can know where Draven is before we go.
Yeah, see, Draven we can spy on. I don't want to spy on Poe, we shouldn't bother him. Like, if he says he's fine, I'm sure you do, Suni, but I think if he says he's fine, then we just leave it alone, and I don't need to, look, it's not like we're talking all the time, okay? It's not a big deal. We can just leave it at that.
So is it only through water or like the wind? Because I thought you were the wind person.
Right, so I go to the water and I wind.
Okay.
And then he gets it. I don't understand it either. It's there's like the 4 elements and there's the language, and I don't know. I was talking to Tyr about it yesterday, and he said something about the primordial gods wanting us to stay connected, I think. But, whatever. It's not that serious.
Cool. Seems pretty serious, but either way. And she'll kind of I guess, go over to Cecily and kind of have her hands out to allow her to send off that sending.
If you have some extra words, tell him that Suni says hi.
Okay. I'll spare my words.
Yeah.
Let's see, do I need to start with Poe? This is Cecily. No, he'll know. Okay. Alright, and she'll kind of get into position. Where are you at? We got cut off last time. Just want to make sure you're safe. I'm about to head to Adarashi. Suni says hi. That's the whole mess. That's the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah. You do receive a response, Cecily. Oh, hey. I am in Dragon's Bay with Alec and Zamir to get Doggelin. 15. 14. I'm okay. Not my blood. Hi, Suni. Okay, bye. Go 25.
Okay, bye.
So she'll relay to the message to the room. I don't know if you guys know any of those names or places, but sounds like he's fine. We haven't met Zamir, right? I hope I'm not forgetting him.
No, we did. Zamir teleported Varnast around, didn't he?
Oh.
Yep.
That was Zamir? Well, then who was There's a Zevran, too, right? Did we meet him yesterday?
That's me. I'm Zevran. I'm working with Mimir.
I'm so sorry.
That's so funny.
It's all right. It's all right. I know. I understand. I'm the new guy here. No big deal. Anyway, Mimir, like I was saying, as they continue to work.
Okay. So he's with people we like. That's cool. All's in his blood. Alright. I guess we're good. He said hi, Suni.
Hell yeah.
He ran out of words, so,
Well, that was the important part of the message.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Nope, just wanted to do that. Next time I'm by water, we can talk more if there's I mean, if there's something important, you know. All right, that's
Or
it.
not important. Whatever. Okay. She's gotta get up, get ready for the day, grab the spear and the shield, put on her back, and be like, "So you're not needing these, Ajax?"
No. You claimed them, and they are now yours.
All right.
I do have an announcement also.
Eventful morning.
Last night, Ares came to me.
Oh my god, another one?
He offered me not only a way to undo all of this, but he also offered me weapons.
And Ajax conjures the hammers.
Yep. As you do, you can see the ethereal chains, almost of like star matter and dust, begin to form around his wrists, and you see these two massive meteorite hammers emerge from the palms of his hand.
New weapons are so hard to say no to. I get it, man.
I wanted everyone to know. And I also wanted to apologize to everybody. I have not been myself. I've been so overcome with rage and anger that I've lashed out.
And he looks towards Bianca when he says that.
I am very sorry. It will not happen again. I promise.
When you need to let pain out, let it out, but just don't shut us out too.
But I should not let that pain out on my friends.
I mean, that would be nice and preferable. But we're here. And for me, apology not needed. We're good.
That is all. I will no longer be sneaking off away from everyone. I feel that I need the company.
We'll ask then. So, does this mean that you're moving on from Palor and from Leos?
I think Palor's moved on from me. I worship Palor and Leos my entire life. I've never felt more disconnected, unwanted. What Ares offers is similar. And honestly, he said that Zeus could fix this. Was it foolish of me to take this offer?
wouldn't say it's foolish. But I also know how much Paylor is meant to you. And, well, as I feel like was said yesterday, I know that not having that connection is hard. But I don't know that you should so quickly try and further distance yourself from him. I'm not obviously as familiar about Ares as other gods, but I also know that it's rare for someone to be a champion of so many gods.
I agree. I do not wish to stop worshipping Paylor.
And I mean, if Ares understands this, I don't see the interaction being negative. If Ares is offering you an avenue to healing you through Zeus, and you still hope to regain your connection with Paylor, it sounds like it's a great choice. I mean, it sounds like what I have with Hades.
Yes. I just wanted to let everyone know.
Or are you otherwise familiar then with the relation Ares has with Paylor?
No.
So I feel the difference with the two of them versus something like Hades and the Raven Queen is that they cover different domains. Don't have the same relations with one another.
That I do know. Which is why I hope that Paylor does not look down upon this decision.
I don't see why he would. Have we received any information that would support that?
About either
that was
Paylor.
Bianca in character
Oh, okay.
trying to get stuff out of Ajax. I'm sorry. Trying to stir the pot.
Leave us, Joe.
Sorry.
Paylor stands for light and protection. Ares stands for war and justice. Not similar enough.
Alright. I certainly wouldn't think that Paylor would take any offense into you trying to get help. And so, well, maybe it won't be a problem. I still think it's something to be wary of, though.
I agree. I know I have not been present. Where are we headed?
Atarashi. Today, right? Unless we needed to do more tasks, but from what I understand, we are wanting to head out pretty soon.
I believe it's at Emerald's discretion, though, whenever he can get to us, if I'm correct.
That's true.
And who knows with that dude?
Hopefully he thinks it's a little bit important, but Well, a lot
Well-
of things are important these days.
According to the advice he gave us that one time, we should go find him first and tell him we're ready to go.
How do we find him?
Send.
We say his
Second
name
voice
3
message.
times in a dark room.
Magic.
Magic's generally an answer.
Hmm.
I will ask though, where's Sooner at?
She keeps herself pretty busy in the market. So she's probably already there. This early
Okay.
morning.
Okay. Perhaps not too time consuming of a thing, but I'd also think that we should all have a conversation with Sooner before we do leave. Might worry about contacting Emerald until later then. Think that would be best left to when we're ready to go, unless he comes to us earlier.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. It is her home after all.
It is. Which I think might be a good idea to get her to take the day off today. Especially if we are going to be leaving. Get little ducks in a row, you know?
Quack, quack. Let's do it.
Quack quack. Yeah. Retrieve her from the marketplace.
Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, you can easily head down to the market and, encourage her to leave. She's okay with that. She's okay with taking the day off.
Yeah, I mean, she'd also mentioned that, we're probably leaving today. So,
Okay. She, today.
Are you okay?
For sure today?
Not for sure, but most likely. We haven't contacted Emerald, nor has he contacted us. But everyone seems otherwise ready to go.
Okay. Yeah.
You only have to tell us how much you're ready to. I will say that.
Yeah.
And we're of course going to be there for you as well.
Yeah.
Should give her a little squeeze. But I think we will need to know a bit more before we do go. And I think now is the time to maybe talk about some of those things.
Okay.
And you do always have the chance to just stay here as well if it's too much. I want that to be clear as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Lead her back to the lodge.
Okay. So you do just that. Lead her back to the lodge. All of you can see Carasilla and Suna enter. As you can definitely see, Suna is she's definitely looking just a little stressed. But she is she's maintaining a cool, at least. So as she enters, as all of you see her and Carousel enter, you can see she sort of waves, and then will kind of sit down at a nearby table, just kind of start eating, but not talking to any of you at all.
think there was a couple of things you wanted to speak about sooner.
Mm-hmm. You see, she just kind of looks back and forth.
I
Oh.
mean,
Hey, no, hold on. Sooner, before we get into business, I found this on the road a couple of days ago, and I wasn't sure what it was, and I figured I would just show it to you. And Cecily's just gonna pull out a random ass rock, and just slide it across the table, and just try to loosen her up a little bit. Like, is there something going on with that one? You know, it doesn't look like just normal, road rock.
You can see she kind of picks it up and looks at it. Yeah, I think this is it's a schist rock. It's like it's got a lot of minerals in it, which causes the lines and streaks and all the little fragments you can see in the rock.
Well, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's a good rock. You have a good eye.
Okay. Well, do you want to keep it, or should I keep it?
No, you can keep it. I could go out into the city and get one of those too, but it's a good looking version. It's a good looking one.
Okay. And Cecily will grab it, and she's just gonna kind of shoot "Well, I tried" eyes across the table. All right.
Suna.
Well, we can talk about the thing.
and like making sure like all the doors and stuff are shut. Look, we need to know what's going on for our safety and yours. You don't have to come with us if you decide not to. But please tell us what you can. I don't want to make a mistake and hurt you.
Well, I mean, I already told Garicilla the most important parts, which is that I did something a long time ago and it ended up really bad. And now I'm exiled. And if people were to learn it was me, I could get in a lot of trouble, but they never will because I look nothing like the person I was when I lived there.
Suppose what we still need to know is who exactly would be interested in finding out who you are.
Well, that's the thing with Adarashi. Even though there are 3 separate clans, they all operate under the same law enforcement system. So if you do something wrong in one island, you can't go to another for safety or security. There's no safety in that. So, I mean, it really doesn't matter which clan or which island I made what they considered to be a mistake on, because in all of them, it's that way. So, I mean, nobody will recognize me, and I have the magic to disguise myself.
What is what you did wrong something that would have been considered wrong here in Bella Clara? You
No.
don't have to tell us what. Okay. That's enough for me to feel really good about defending you, if that ever comes to that.
I also understand that all of the islands may be aware of what happened. But surely what you did didn't span across all of the islands. At least to know where things happened. Or potentially who involving. Just so we know where to keep our eyes. Be useful.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check, Harrisilla.
I mean, I ain't too shabby at the. Well, one was a once. That's really sad. The other is a 19, potentially more. I can't remember if that's a thing. That involves the other thing. And now I can't find the thing, so I don't think it matters. We'll just go over 19.
19? Okay.
Oh, no, it does. 23.
23. Okay. It's a good thing you double checked. Found the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. The thing I did wrong was I disgraced my family. I am the daughter of the current empress of the Akai clan in Atarashi. When I was still there, when I was still supposed to be her heir, I would leave the castle. I would leave the keep. And I would go into the town. And I would go outside of the city walls because there was a river. And it would make all of the stones there really flat. And so you could see a lot of different things in the rocks. And I liked seeing those different layers because most of the time you can't see them. Or the rocks that were in the keep, it was marble and granite. It was smoothed down to such a fine point. There were no blemishes. There was no natural element. It was ugly. But while I was out, there was a mill. Well, it was a blacksmith. But they used the river to power their furnaces. And I met someone. Her name was Yuki. And I really liked her. A lot. We would sneak away. We would talk. She would talk about what her parents did in the blacksmith and how she was learning. And I would tell her about the different rocks that I found, and we would trade things. She would give me metal scraps from the blacksmith and ask me what they were made of. And I helped her build up a really impressive rock collection. It went on this way for a really long time. It was nice. I didn't have any friends in the palace. I was so shut in. And as we both got older, she ended up taking over the blacksmith when her parents got too old to manage it. And I started to receive much more aggressive training in decorum and how I was supposed to act and everything that the great Empress Suen expected of me. And, well, we decided one night that we would run away. So I packed, and so did she. We were going to go somewhere. That night we met. We swore an oath to each other. We formed a bond. Under the stars and under the gods that are worshipped in Adarashi, we pledged ourselves to each other. She even talked about how there was a monastery nearby that we could get shelter in, that she had been training at for several years, the monastery of the 5th season. But as we were leaving the bounds of the city, there were guards that stopped us. They searched our bags, and they found my seal. Initially, they thought that I was a thief, that we were thieves, that we stole this from the palace. But eventually, as things were escalated, it was eventually escalated to my mother. Originally, she was just going to banish Yuki and punish me, but she put both of us under a zone of truth. And when I told her that Yuki and I, that we pledged ourselves to each other, that I pledged myself to such a lowly swine, that I would need to be punished more. Yuki was publicly executed. I was forced to watch. Then they shaved my head. You see, it's in the clan Akai, the greatest disrespect you can do to someone is to remove their hair. The longer one's hair, the more luxurious, the higher status they are. And they banished me, and my mother said that if I ever stepped foot in Atarashi ever again, I would receive the same fate. That was 7 years ago now. I don't like to think about it too much. But you are right, it's better that you know than not.
Carousel will just lean over and hug her.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling us. I'm sorry all of that happened. But I promise that we will do everything in our power to make sure that no one there finds out who you really are. And I promise you that this isn't a secret that's going to leave this room.
Thank you.
Are you sure you want to come? I'm sure you'll be a really big help, but I don't think any of us would want to put you through that just because it might be useful if you don't want to come.
I know. But two things. One, there are a lot of customs in Atarashi that, should you not follow them, each clan is different. There are punishments for them. And I don't want any of you to receive those punishments where I could very, very easily help you through them and make sure that you follow the customs and that you don't get in trouble. It's not that you couldn't fight back the guards of any one of the clans, it's just that it'll make everything harder. For two, there is nothing I would like more than to rebel in the biggest way I know possible against the woman that destroyed such a sacred part of my life.
What is that gonna look like for you? Are we talking cold, hard revenge or something else?
I just want to step foot on the soil. I want to walk through towns. I want to be there and not be afraid of her. And her telling me that I have to leave. I don't want vengeance. That doesn't do any good. I just want to go home. I want to go to that blacksmith, to that shop. And there are rocks that I need to add to that collection.
You won't be alone. We will do this with you. And you are with the council of the Old Kingdom. You are protected. Definitely don't plan on making you known. That is a fact. What Carasilla said is true. This will not leave this room. But if anything happens, we are with you. You are ours.
Thank you.
Get you home.
So, with that, unless anybody has anything else they'd like to say to Suna. Nope. Okay. So, she takes a moment to sort of sit by herself and breathe after speaking something that she has not said for a long time. So, two things. First things first, there is something that arrives from the excavators of the keep. Something that they found per the instruction of Carasilla. So, Carasilla, you can see the dwarves of the Mazdram Mountains, as well as some of the other workers. They arrive with a small chest. And one of the dwarves of the Mazdram Mountains, he enters the room and sort of looks to all of you and looks to see you, Carasilla, and says,
We were able to find what you had, what instructions you had left. There was a chest in there. We have not opened it yet, but we made sure not to damage it in any way. We sealed it back after we opened it.
Thank you.
Of course.
and he'll kind of take the chest. It's no bigger than, yeah, I mean, it can fit in both your hands if you hold it together as he sort of hands it to you. And sort of gives a slight bow to everyone in the room, and then we'll head out.
Is it locked at all? Can she just open it up?
Yep, you can just open it.
Open.
So, as you do, you see sitting on what looks to be this velvet cushion, this item that is crafted with the utmost precision. You can see it's this glove, I guess. It's not exactly the best way to describe it. It is sort of like a porcelain plate that covers the back of your hand with these interconnected metal rings and chains. But you can see this marbled purple and white piece of porcelain placed, like I said, at the back of the palm. And you know that this was once owned by Elendar Damaris. The glove is, you can feel this connection to it, and you believe it to have been crafted in the world of dreams. And it holds this incredibly strong connection to it, to the essence of memories and past. So, you can add to your inventory the Echoes of Damaris, or Echoes of Damaris. It's not the... It's a magic item that requires attunement. And it has 4 abilities. Ability 1. While wearing and attuned to this glove, you gain the ability to glimpse echoes of an individual's past. As an action, you can focus on a creature you can see within 30 feet. The echo manifests as fleeting images, sensations, or sound that pertain to significant events or emotions from that target's history. These echoes provide insight but not detailed accounts, allowing you to gain a general understanding of the individual's past experiences but not exact details. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. Regain all charges after a long rest. Dreamwalk. The attuned wearer can, with a full night's rest, attempt to enter the dream world intentionally, though it might not always lead to the exact dream or scenario desired. Protection from nightmares. While attuned to this glove, the wearer has advantage on saving throws against spells and effects that would induce nightmares, sleep disturbances, or any dream-related manipulation. Dreams Insight. Once per long rest while in the dream world, the wearer can ask the essence of Lindar Damaris a single question. The answer is often cryptic, revealed in symbols, sensation, or brief visions. It's up to the wearer to interpret however they want. So, Alindar, in his time after he departed from you, Carasilla, had mastered the dream world and potentially might have learned how to look into the echoes of the future, not just of the past. So, there is more use to that than just lore questions. Who knows?
Sick nasty.
Yeah.
It's like looking at it for so long, like wondering why it disappeared, but I realized I didn't equip it before I was trying to attune to it.
That'll do it.
Fine. Yeah, I mean, she'll chuck it on, I guess. Not start the attuning process quite yet, because she'd also want to scry on Draven just while everyone's still together.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, yeah.
Alrighty. So scrying on Draven. That is, do you want to pop that in the chat? Just to figure out what the DC is for him specifically. Because it's different depending on how much you know the person or what have you.
Bruh, I thought I changed it into my spells, but I guess I didn't. I can't find it. There you go. Oh no, it is in there. I just can't spell, I guess. I don't know. Oh, I can't stand in there. What the fuck? It says I've got it prepared, but it's not on my spell list, so I can't bring out the little prompt thingy.
Very strange. Okay, let me go to Carasilla.
Just gonna get it out. I mean, it'd be familiar, so it'd be the +5 for. Wait, no, -5. There we go.
-5, yeah.
To save.
And then you do not have a likeness or a picture, a possession or garment, or a body part, lock of hair, or bit of nail.
No, I do not.
Cool. Okay, so he will have -5
to wisdom.
to his save. What's the better way to do this? So we'll just add +5 to your DC. So 24.
Wisdom.
Cool. 24 wisdom. Okay. Pull up his stat sheet. Okay. He has a chance. He has to roll very high, but he has a chance. It's cocked. It's 23. So that is a failure. So, Carasilla, as you tune in to the scry, with the amulet, obviously she's not attuned to it yet, but when Carasilla casts scry, what does it look like? Paint a word picture for me.
What about an amulet? Why is there an amulet here?
Did I say amulet?
So
I meant to say glove.
Okay, sorry, I was real confused. Yeah, I mean, I think it's not a ritual, is it? No. I won't make it a ritual then. I think it's just gonna be she's gonna just get some of the drone strings on her girdie going, and just with that vibration is just gonna kind of like almost like wipe the air in front, and it will kind of like going in with the kind of vibrating waves of the air would just kind of shimmer and then kind of twist into the little like scrying eye portion of it, and just be able to peer in then.
Okay. Alrighty. So as you do this, a vision comes into focus. You can hear the outdoors. And you see this court outdoors, the sun shining down in this place. You see these beautiful marble and granite walls, etched and inlaid with gold and silver, incredibly decorative. You see these marvelously tall towers covered in red slates. You can see this incredibly tall and narrow architecture, and cresting above the walls, you can see these petals of pink flowers sort of flowing back and forth. As Karasilla, having been to Atarashi before, you would be able to recognize this as, with beyond a shadow of a doubt, the capital city of Clan Akai. So I'll go ahead and move you all now to the map of Atarashi, as you now generally know where Draven Hunt's location is. I guess you guys don't know where you're going to be, so let's go ahead and get you out of there.
But our cute little cart. I love that it's back.
So, you know that Draven Hunt is in the capital city of Akai right now, but what he is up to, well, that's what you're scrying on. So, you scry, and you see Draven Hunt standing, sort of bowing in front of a woman sitting on this beautiful throne. These dual dragons running up the side of colors of silver and gold, cresting, forming this sort of dual dragon head hanging out over her head. She is an older woman, pointed ears. You can see her hair is this jet black, as it comes down past her shoulders, past her waist, past her knees, and sort of extends down onto the floor. But you can see there is this train from whatever gown she is wearing that the hair rests upon. The hair never touches the floor. You can see she sits as Draven bows to her, and as the scrying eye opens up, you can see a great many individuals standing behind Draven. There are a few that stand out to you that are especially worrisome. For one, you see a very solid retinue of Children of the Flame that stand behind him, flanked on each side by loyalists that had left following Draven. Very powerful individuals. You also see, standing beside him, looks to be a small collection of Banshin, faces completely covered and shrouded in shadow and cloak. But by far the most worrying thing you see, Karasilla, is the massive form that stands next to Draven Hunt. Tattoos crawling around his face, down his neck, down his arms. A man that stands 18, 19, 20 feet tall. Lorokan, the Forsaken. You can see Draven bow, and he speaks and says,
Empress Suen, it is a great honor for you to bless me and my court with your appearance. I understand visitors are few and far between, but I bring a great gift with me. Upon ships in the dock of your great city lays the majority of the wealth of the nation of Belliclara. Ready to be gifted to you to form a partnership. You see, Empress Suen, there are usurpers, villains that dwell in Belliclara. They lurk in shade and shadow.
You see him smile for just a moment, but it quickly wipes away as you can see hundreds of onlookers staring down at them. The high courts of all of the clans, not just of Akai, but of Opokami and Shiroi as well. All of the important people of Atarashi currently listen to the words Draven says.
They may come here claiming to be rulers of Belliclara. But they are nothing more than outlaws that have gained such incredible favor. It is sad to say, to hear, I know. But the investors of Belliclara and myself come because we would like to make a deal. As you know, Belliclara is a wealthy nation, and that wealth has come with us. We also know that there is a great deal of unsettled land in Clan Akai. The investors would like to purchase this land from you, to rent it, to be your loyal subjects, but to inject all of their wealth into your nation.
You see him look to Lorokan, and then look to Empress Suen.
You hold the power here, Empress Suen. Should you tell us to leave, we will bow our heads and leave. But should we be allowed to stay, your greatest wishes come true.
Coy smile on his face. You see Empress Suen think for a moment. She nods her head at their request. Draven bows in response and says,
You honor us deeply, Empress Suen, but the details must be worked out. I would like to leave behind my most trusted advisor.
He looks to Lorokan.
One of the Goliaths. As you know, the most trustworthy people among us.
Looking not to Empress Suen, but to the crowd. Lorokan looks to him and looks to Empress Suen and begins to walk forward. You can see the guards quickly move to interpose themselves, but You hear Empress Suan's nails click on the throne, 2 sharp taps as the guards stop immediately. As Loro Khan approaches, and you can see so begrudgingly, he bows and moves to stand next to her. As you can see, the clans, the different clan leaders, they are speaking, whispering of the wealth, the influence that the investors bring, of a usurper, of outlaws, potentially coming here. You hear how they will make sure that these investors, per Draven's description, that should they arrive in any of their clans and any of their lands, they will be captured and they will be brought to Draven and to Empress Suen for justice. So, with that, Caracilla, that's about your 10 minutes of scrying as it ends, right as Draven smiles and turns to leave. You can see his hand gesture as all the soldiers begin to march, leaving Loro Khan with Empress Suen. As Empress Suen and Loro Khan share a knowing look as the rest of the clans begin to disperse from the Great Hall to return to their homelands. With that, we'll go ahead and pop back to the city of Maester in the warmth of the fireplace of the lodge.
And I can't remember the thing, but everyone would have been able to see this, right?
Yeah, sure. For that way you don't have to re-explain it.
Cool. First of all, just if Suna's still in the room, just see her kind of thoughts on things. That's reaction, I guess.
Initially, there's not much emotion on her face. She's just sort of staring at where that vision was. And she just looks up to it. She doesn't say anything initially. You can tell that she's still processing.
We know not to expect a warm welcome, I suppose.
Right. Unfortunate. Thought, just had to take care of one person. Now there's a whole web and a mess.
Forsaken as well. Guess it shouldn't have been too off the table, but it always complicates matters.
I think that might end up being a good thing once this is all said and done.
It's something we can handle as well.
I don't want to get too hasty. We did handle it with a really cool pirate guy.
Suna.
Pirate hunter guy. Sailor guy.
Varnas. His ears peek up somewhere and he's, who the fuck called me a pirate?
Oh my god.
He just dies again.
You have no idea. You have no idea how big of a deal that was for Ryan and Afera.
Forget Cecily said it.
I mean, Varnas would never.
Varnas never forgets.
Bianca's gonna ask Suna. I know it's very clear in your culture that any sort of dishonor or breaking against what is expected of people is a serious crime. However, is it possible that there are actually no potential allies in Atarashi for us to feel safe around? Are we going to have to operate completely alone?
I You see her think for a moment, and she says, not all of the clans will follow Empress Suen's wishes. You see, many of the clans, they want to have their own identity, make their own choices. So there may be a few, but to name names, I have no idea. Any of her enemies have been snuffed out. Most of those individuals that currently command the clans to the north in Apokami or Shioro, they are, for the most part, under her control. So I would guess that most of our allies would be few and far between.
So,
Continue.
so she's Empress of Akai, but she kind of has her fingers in the whole pie.
Yeah.
Good to know. Listen, Tyr was talking about maybe coming or maybe not. I don't know if he knows much about the situation in Adarashi because he's been in Loshar all this time. Maybe this might be good information for him. But I also know that he is very noticeable. And I don't know if that would be a good thing for us. It just depends.
Maybe Loshar is much closer. But I guess if we have teleportations, certain stuff, it doesn't really matter proximity too much.
I'll have to see
which... We have a very clear mission. We have to always destroy the 13. And we have to take care of Draven. Everything else would crumble in Atarashi there, right? We're not expecting to do anything about the clans, correct? At least not right now.
Definitely doesn't seem like our problem, at least not at the moment.
We just got finished fighting for a kingdom.
Right,
We should not do it again.
Not interested in another war.
I agree, we should go there, taking out Dark Friends, Forsaken.
Yeah. At least get our problems out of their way.
You realize if we do just go there to do that, it would cause problems for the people there. Inherently so. You have an empress that's just made an agreement with Draven and with the Forsaken. Should that agreement go south, should people learn the nature of Lorakan, or even Draven, I can't imagine that going down well there. And depending on how tied the Empress is to Lorakan and Draven, then us getting involved there, she might be unwilling to see us as anything but enemies. So anything we do will disrupt that. And that will cause instability for all of them. For each of the clans, even if she's not a true empress of all of them. I know that we don't want to have to fight and to wage war with another, not quite kingdom, but still. But I don't think we can shy away from the effects there.
I don't know as much about Atarashi as Suna does, but Suna, isn't power a tool of respect almost? in the Atarashi culture. Would not us just taking out Draven and Laurel Khan maybe sway her decision on to make us enemies? I know
I
that's a big
think
question.
that she, knowing her, she would view it as a great assault on her directly. She has given her permission to these two outlanders and to the refugees, as she views it, from the nation of Bella Clara. Of course, the investors, so she sees this as an ultimate win for her. Not only does she get all of their money, but she gets to be the individual that keeps the refugees safe. But of course, they're incredibly wealthy and will bring so much attention to Clan Akai. So if Laurel Khan and Draven are both killed, I think she may view that as an assault against her and Clan Akai.
Is there any potential to sway her beforehand, do you think? Or should we just operate like it's gonna go wrong? All right.
I do not think so. No. It would make her look like a poor leader if she changed her mind. From her perspective.
We are
Think all
not
that to
heading
say.
there to gain the favor of the Empress. We're heading there to deal with Draven. No matter what we do, we will upset the stability of everything. But it's either Draven and Lorocon, or we keep them alive.
Right. I agree. It just scares me. And like she like looks out a window at all the happy citizens.
Sorry, someone was talking over me. It was like a robot or something.
Weird.
The Warforged servant comes in. I'm so sorry. I'll leave.
This is a battle against the Dark One. We cannot appease everyone.
I think it's less a matter of who we're appeasing. I mean, with Draven and Loricon there, there's hardly going to be any stability nor peace for the people there. And so I think more so we just need to be aware of all of that when we're going in. It may not be our job there to fix things, but it's our responsibility to not cause more harm, to mitigate it where we can. Maybe we can't fix things, but we can at least help them. Be the right thing to do.
I agree. I just don't want to bring any of that back here. But we have to keep fighting the Dark Run. This is what we have to do. If he wins, it doesn't matter what we've all fought for. So, let's do it.
Before we go, I'm gonna go ahead and find Tyr and see where he's at. I'm not sure about all the pros and cons of him coming, but I mean, he is supposedly one of the most powerful political figures and negotiators in the world, so might be good to see what he says. Plus, he's very, very old and might know the Empress from a long time ago. It's possible.
Also, add on that, I know we're worried about going there and seeing hostile faces, but wouldn't all be. I mean, my old senior kindled, she retired to Atarashi. She'd be there and she'd hesitate to rope her into things, but she'd help. I know she would.
Okay.
But if we can also get Tyr on our side, that would be, well, better. But
Yeah, we'll see what he says.
also worry if we would just drag any reputation he has there as well, or down with us as another usurper.
Well, I think he can make that call. Like I said, he's got hundreds of years of reputation around all of Illica. I don't think anybody can weigh what he should do better than him. Maybe, possible, knock on wood, maybe we show up and everyone there says, "By the gods, it's Tyr, let's throw a party." And then during the party he says, "Hey, say no to Draven Hunt," and then everyone's on our side. I'm just putting that out in the air in case
I
it
enjoy
happens.
the optimism. Truly. We need it.
Hey, we'll go chat with him, and then we can get Emeriel. And then those trees look cool. Let's go look at those. Alright, and Cecily will bound out of the room.
Okay. Cecily bounds. Easily enough, you find Tyr.
Cool.
You can see that as of right now, he is working with Captain Fedorov, making sure that the weapons and armor from the Kabdar dwarves, that they're distributed properly, that they're under good care. I mean, even though Tyr is retired from it, while he was a true part of that, Jormungandr pantheon, he was the god of war. So you can see him sort of getting into a bit of an old stride, and working to ensure that should it come again, that the soldiers here will be prepared for it. As you approach, though, Cecily, he sees you and says,
I will have to speak to you later, Captain Fedorov. It was great speaking with you, and we will continue to do so to make sure the people of Maester are safe. But I have a feeling this is not an accident.
and Captain Fedorov, he sort of nods and heads off and leaves you and Tyr to walk throughout the city and speak about whatever you wish to.
Okay. She will find a spot on their table where there's not a bunch of stuff and sit on it so that she is maybe 1 foot below eye level with Tyr instead of 3.
Okay.
She'll sit up there. We should be going pretty soon. Wanted to know what you were thinking. I know you've got a lot of history everywhere, probably. There's this empress there named Suin of Clan Akai that it seems like we might end up upsetting no matter what, which is not good news for a new old kingdom. I don't know if you being there would actually help anything. I mean, you'd be pretty recognizable, so I don't know. Guess I just wanted to get your input before we left.
I appreciate that. Sadly, I have never had the pleasure of meeting Empress Suin. Most of the work I had done was in Altarashi. It was before she was Empress. A lot of the work I did was in Jormungandry to try and find some type of peace between the southern and northern half. But something has come to light where I think that it would be best for me to come with you. I have reached out to those individuals that I know that I can trust within Fjardeleth. I myself am recognizable due to my...
And he sort of gestures down to his height and, stature.
But there is an individual that would be willing to meet with all of you to hopefully attempt to garner peace between you and Odin. His name is Heimdall. As I understand it, your companion Ajax has worked with him in the past.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Wherever you arrive in Azarashi, send me a message. Tell me where you're at, and I will work to find a place where you and your companions and Heimdall can meet in private. Hopefully outside of the eyes of Odin, Thor, but most importantly, Thrud. Thrud has been on a hunt for all of you. Thor has sent her off in different directions, trying to maintain a promise to all of you to keep her away. But she's beginning to find a scent, so to speak. So it's imperative that you all meet with Heimdall before Thrud finds you. You've told me before what Thor promised to do should something happen. I will come with you, should it come to that. But sadly, in terms of the politics of the clans of Atarashi, I'm not an expert. Nor do I think my name would carry much weight. The clans of Atarashi worship their own gods. They care not for those of the divines of the rest of Eridane, or the gods of Jormungandr, Thrall, or even the Primordials.
Okay. Look, I don't, if we're really trying to go with the peace option, which I know makes more sense, I don't know that I'm gonna be very good at, doing it if someone like you isn't around. I tend not to make good first impressions. I really wouldn't want to fuck it up.
I have faith in you. Trust in yourself and your companions. And you will make it through this. And worse comes to worse. Should you stumble into danger, all of you are strong enough to stumble your way out of it. As dire as it may seem.
I think maybe that's all I needed to hear, actually. Okay. Well, hopefully this Heimdall guy likes me. Hopefully he still likes Ajax. Everything goes well.
As long as one of those things is true, I think you will be quite all right.
Well, then I guess I'll see you sometime soon.
Yes, I will need to go about finding weapons. Should things go awry, I'd like to be armed.
They don't make anything in your size here.
No, a little bit harder to find things that fit me. Well, I will let you get back to your companions, and I am now on a quest to find something to defend myself with.
Okay.
I will return to the keep when I am done.
Okay. One last thing, too. Just so you know, I actually talked to Keothi yesterday, and she actually was able to teach me a little bit of Terran.
Well, very good.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Here, I learned this one. This is how you say "don't put dirt in my mouth," and she's gonna take a handful of soil out of her pocket and like smear it in his beard.
You see, he just stands there and he just sort of closes his eyes and like purses his lips.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, and this one is treat your daughter with more respect, and she'll sprinkle it on his boots.
He sort of looks down at his boots and nods. Some of the soil falls out of the beard. Not all of it, though. He looks to you and says,
I did not know those words yet. Thank you for telling me.
Yeah. Oh, and last one she taught me. This one is, it's totally cool, and she's gonna eat the last little scoop.
You do not have to eat the... Oh, you're already eating... Well,
Mm-hmm.
well, if it's totally cool, then...
then you see him take some out of his beard and he kind of puts it in his mouth.
Then it's totally cool.
It's totally cool. Mm.
Oh, that's
Still
disgusting.
learning, I see.
Yes.
No, so once you learn the dialect, you can handle it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I will work on that while you're adventuring in Atarashi, then.
Yeah.
And he takes a water
Work
skin
on it a
off and
lot.
sort of hands it to you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yep, bit's over. Oh, God. And she's gonna just guzzle. Alright. Well, that's that. I will see you soon.
Okay, with that, he nods. And you head back to the keep. Tyr goes in search of weaponry. And with that, now is a bit of a waiting game. Is there anything else anybody would like to do before the potential arrival of Immorale?
I have one thing.
Yeah, sure.
John, did you have a thing?
I do, but I've already done a thing, so you go.
Okay. Bianca's just gonna go to the Temple of the Divines that they now have in Maester.
Mhm.
Or was always there, but is now revealed as Divines. And first she's gonna go to the Raven Queen section, and just kind of pay homage to, or honor to, Yuki, learning of that story and
Mhm.
praying for some sort of like peace to fall upon both souls involved in that awful situation. And that's probably where she would spend most of her time. But then she's gonna go over to the Paylor section with the shield and the spear still on her back, and she's gonna just spend some time there too. If there's any sort of like cleric or priest or priestess that seems to be knowledgeable about Paylor, she may pull them aside just to inquire and get to know things a little better, because she's like, I know he's a god of light and shit, Leo something, but she doesn't know Paylor. So, but otherwise, I think that's all it really was. So,
Yeah. So you said you were looking for somebody that was more knowledgeable.
yeah,
Did you want to speak with somebody?
probably, yeah. If someone there who's a Paylorite, I don't know, Kiva.
Yeah. For sure. Okay. So as you're looking about, you can see that there is a collection of clerics and priests and paladins, these individuals that are flocking back to the temple to pay homage to these divines, as before it was just a place for the sapphire god. But now, as it does return, you find one individual that is adorned in these sort of white and gold robes, not of that of the Children of the Flame. It's a little bit more worn down and a little bit more tattered. And you can see this golden sun emblazoned across their chest, and they wear a tabard dedicated to Paylor, this sort of white and gold and green. And you see that it is a drow man, shaven head, pointed ears, sharp facial features, as he sort of bows in front of the symbol of Paylor. And you can see he has a oh shoot. Oh god, what are those called? They're the maces that have the incense burning off of them.
Censer.
Thank you.
Oh.
You can see that he currently has a censer as he's just sort of waving it around, spreading this aroma throughout the room.
Mm-hmm.
So
when it seems like, yeah, just like when it seems like a moment that he's not in deep meditation or finishing up a prayer or anything like that, she would step forward and say, "Excuse me, do you have a moment?"
Yes, I do. I would be more than happy to help you in whatever way I can. My name is Thunderael. It's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Bianca. My goddess is the Raven Queen, but I know the divines all work in tandem with each other, and I don't spend much time praying to Paylor, so I'm not exactly sure how best to receive his guidance, but I have a friend who's really struggling to connect with him. He used to have a very strong connection to Leos, and I don't know how to help him. He's just very lost right now, and I don't know what to do.
You can see he sort of nods and thinks for a moment.
I will admit, in the recent months and years, I have felt a change. The sun does not shine so bright, and its warmth is not so deep. The gods seem to grow colder. They recede far away from the realm they once were a part of. I do not know why or for what reason. Those are beyond my understanding. But what I do know is that if your friend is to sit in the shade day after day after day, hoping to find light, they can wait, yes, of course. The clouds will break eventually. But perhaps it is best if they just move. It is always hard Change is one of the scariest things we can commit to as mortals.
Indeed. Is Paler known for abandoning his faithful? Or, because I know I've noticed a strain on that bond with my goddess as well. I agree, it does seem like there's something pulling them away from us. It doesn't feel intentional, but would Palor be a god to intentionally pull away, given some circumstances?
Palor is a god of light and growth, love and care, renewal. There are things that you can do to offend the god of light, the Dawn Father. In most cases, all can be atoned for, but there are some things that are too great to live one's life in the shadow. Not in an effort to wait for the sun, but to avoid it. Nightwalkers, vampires. They cannot speak with Palor because they are banished from the sun.
But what if that darkness was not willingly taken, but thrust upon them? Like, say, a vampire spawn that maybe once worshipped Palor and wishes to... No?
It is a curse at that point. The gods cannot interfere in the mortal world. For if Palor intervenes on behalf of one vampire spawn, what is to prevent Tiamat from descending upon the realm as well? Balance is a double-edged sword. It keeps most people safe. But it does put many in places where the gods cannot save them, regardless of their devotion. The best we can do is to observe these obstacles, these walls, these, in some cases, cages. They might be a curse for us, for the one enduring the pain. But because the gods do not intervene on our behalf, others may live freely, without worry of a worse fate. It is a painful truth to come to terms with. Palor could not save me and my family from the horrors of the Underdark. I was the only one that lived. But I am here. I endured great pain and unending shadow. But now I can be bathed in his light. And I am thankful every day that Palor's enemies do not attempt to steal it away from me. I am sorry if this does not provide you comfort.
I wasn't looking for comfort, but I do appreciate the help. It has given me a lot more clarity about how I can help my friend. I don't believe in hopelessnesses. I understand there are rules and things that systems that make things work, but we've seen the impossible happen. And I think there's more in our control than we let on. I do really appreciate your assistance, though. I just need a lot of time to think.
Very well. Take all the time you need.
And she will...
Light be with you, child.
And he'll kind of bow his head to you. And provided you have nothing else, he'll turn and walk away.
Yeah, no, I think she would... I don't know if this is a temple that has, like, that's, like, all open. And it's just kind of like, you know, be where you need to. Or if there's, like, certain seating or anything. But I think she would, like...
It's definitely like a cathedral
Yeah.
situation. But there are multiple doorways that lead outward to small groves and gardens that are still on the hallowed land.
Okay. Because I think she would just, like, maybe on, like, an altar or something, place the spear and the shield, knowing that literally Paylor was able to make a devil, I mean, with assistance, but, like, a devil's soul into these items of light. She's just gonna, like, whisper over them. I don't believe you wouldn't do it. I just think it's harder when things get darker. Maybe that man needs to believe that for his own sake, but I've seen you do it before. Ajax will come back. He will. And then after that little rare thing, she will collect her items and return to the keep.
And you're leaving the spear and...
Oh no,
shield
I'm
back.
taking that with me.
Okay.
That's too good to leave behind. No.
So, Bianca, as you are leaving the temple, you see what you believe to be that same Drowman, Sundrail. And as you are beginning to leave, he stops you for a moment. He doesn't interpose himself. It's not like he's preventing you from leaving. He's just trying to get your attention before you walk out.
Yeah.
And he says,
Do what you can to keep him safe. Please.
and with that, he'll say that to you and then walk right past your shoulder. And as you turn to look, Sundrail is no longer there.
Okay. She smiles to herself and then we'll proceed on.
Okay. Alrighty. So, with that, Bianca, you head back to the keep and you re-enter the rooms back into the warmth of the planning and staging room. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break right there. And we'll be back in, let's say, 47, whatever time that is for you. 47. Okay. All right. BRB. We're back, picking up where one left off. in this campaign of Heroes and Fate, we find ourselves in the city of Maester. The party,
All right.
still time away from reconvening with Emerald to be transported to the city of Adarashi. I asked the party, is there anything you would like to do in the remaining time you have in Maester, since you still have not heard from Emerald?
Thank you, AI Joe.
I
I
have.
have something.
You're welcome.
Okay. I have a small.
See, like that,
thing.
it took a second to respond. The AI had to think about it. Okay, yeah, Mark, you had a small
Yeah.
thing? Okay.
I had a small thing I would like to do with Carasilla. But yeah.
Let's
All
look
right.
up and see throwing hands. Yeah, no.
All right. You want to do a small thing with Carasilla? So be it.
I do. Fine.
You
I'll do
re-enter the room from after your conversation with you enter the keep after your conversation with Tyr, and there you find Carasilla. Carasilla, what are you doing in the keep? Huh? Are you allowed to be here?
What?
What the fuck? What does that mean?
I don't.
Did you
What
receive
did you
permission? Do
say?
you have a hall pass?
No.
What are you doing?
I
I'm
don't know.
trespassing.
I'm sorry. Okay, Carasilla's what?
What's
Okay,
up,
I'm sorry.
Cecily?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing right now. Okay, Carasilla, you are in the keep. What is Carasilla doing when Cecily enters the keep? Mid-afternoon, maybe 2:30, 3 o'clock.
What's the
We'll say
temperature
3.
outside? No, sorry.
74.6 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh yes, fake units. I know exactly what to do now.
For goddamn freedom units, you motherfucker. You get it right.
Sorry, I'm so
God
not free.
damn Aw. I'm sorry. Anyway, you're
Anyway, so, all that energy aside, Carousel. I mean, she would, I feel like, just be keeping an eye out on Suna. It's like she'd just stay in that kind of like main little area, and she wouldn't be up to anything. I guess just like tying up any loose ends, be ready to go. But yeah.
All right. So, as Cecily's walking out in the precisely temperatured weather, she, like, as she's walking, she just gets like more and more. She's thinking about all the stuff Tyr said with Heimdall. She's getting kind of anxious, and by the time she shows up into the keep, Carasilla, she's like a little frantic, and she kind of just comes straight to you and says, "All right, don't say anything. I need you to do sending to Poe again."
Hands out.
Okay.
You should do what you said. I'm not saying a single fucking word.
Okay. And Cecily will reach out. By the way, who were you fighting? Seems important. Also, I might broker peace with a family of gods tomorrow. Figured you should know that too. Alright, there's that.
He responds. It was dark friends in Thrall. There was a creature they had with them. It's like an undead dragon. It was a tough fight, but we made it out. Also, what? Be safe.
And Cecily will kind of like, okay. And she'll start to walk away and she'll be like, okay, you know what? He asked a question. I feel like I have to... What is Carasilla's face doing right now? Just out of curiosity.
I feel like it is very much the thing of just like she's still going with the bit of just she's not going to say a single thing. But there is an absolute smirk on her face. She thinks you're cute. remove all these little reaching out to Poe, and she's more than willing to, facilitate another one. She's already got her hands up. Yeah.
Okay. So despite you saying nothing, she's gonna look at you and just be like, just shut up. And she's gonna go down and do the next sending. Okay, how do I explain this? Such as... So, I'm the daughter of Tyr. Not sure if that ever got mentioned. The Tyrsons and the Odinsons have had a big feud. I'm stuck in the middle. We're gonna try to sort it out. Tap. Hit send on Caricilla's knuckle.
Okay. Just to clarify real quick, just because I see it in the chat, the dragon in Isles and Lorocon's dragon are two separate dragons. Moving on. Cecily, you receive a response. Okay. Well, good luck. And it's good to know you're getting answers. Hopefully, he's a good dad. Gods know you finally deserve a good one.
Okay. I think we're, she'll get up. Well, I should... No, I shouldn't. Caricilla, I shouldn't. I'm using all of your magic, and this is stupid. That's fine. We know he's safe.
Say Viva's no face, just like gesturing her heads.
No. It's just... No, you're right. You know what? You're right. I mean, you're wrong, Caricilla. Stop reaching out. You're wrong. I'm right. He's safe. We know it. We're fine. It's just... Because, okay, look. When I do the primordial thing, sometimes I don't hear back from him for, like, days, okay? And sometimes the way I hear back from him is weird, okay? Like, we'll be in the middle of a fight, and there'll be a gust of wind, and he's, like, in the wind. And that's not a conversation. It's cool. It's not a conversation. And then the night we were in Thrall, I actually was able to talk to him, and it was so immediate, and we could just, sort out all the shit. We don't have to be doing this fucking Earth pigeon letter thing that we're doing. But now that, we were able to talk immediately the one time, now we got shit to sort out. So, and you're able to do the thing where we talk immediately this time. So it's just easier, and it just makes more sense to do it this way. But we're done now. We can be done. We can be done. She's just reaching back up.
She's like got her hands like straight up shoved into like your chest at this point. Like, go on.
No, because I don't even have anything else to say. I just want to say something, and that's not a good use of time or magic or the will of the weave. That's not. We use your sending for important things. Okay, it's always really important.
Well, I mean, if you don't want to say anything, you can always see him. You can always try on him.
Oh. No, I mean, I don't... I mean, that's, like, even more magic, and No, I mean, we don't need to do that. I mean, there's no reason to do that. Isn't that like an invasion of privacy?
A little bit.
Yeah, so let's not do that, okay? Pose don't do that to him.
So is also putting thoughts into his head, well, words, messages, but I don't need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, but, you know, he likes hearing from me, so it's fine. Okay.
Well, I'm saying, if you ever want to reach out to him, any of that, I'm always here.
Okay. But I think we're done.
For now, we can be done.
Yeah, for until time is over. We're done. I can just do it the primordial way from now on. It's not urgent. You know, it's not like I need to hear his voice. I can just get the information later, and we'll be fine. We're gonna be fine.
It's not always about needs, though. I mean it if you ever want to be able to reach out. If maybe the whole primordial thing is taking too long. That's what I'm here for.
Okay. Okay, but if we end up in a fight, and I wasted all of your power chit-chatting...
Then my deck
It is
will be
not-
in your hands, Cecily. Listen, I
Well,
doubt
then
that
I'm
we'll
not
ever
gonna
become...
do it. What if you die today?
I hope I don't. Listen, it is an expenditure, yes, but it's not too great a one. And it's one that I think is worth doing. And I mean, today we're just waiting for Emerald. Not much else going on. And so, I feel times like this, it's especially at no real cost.
Okay, stop. One more. Fine. Is that what you want? You talked me into it. One more. Give me your hands.
Give hands.
Touch hand. He is a good dad. When we first met him, his memory was missing. But it's back now. You should meet him sometime. You might like him. Send.
I also don't know if you realize, but you do not need to say send at the end of all of that.
I know.
I think you have...
I know.
I think it was still enough words that it come through to him.
Cecily, you receive a response. And it's the beginning is a little bit mumbled because Carazilla's talking at the same time that you're getting.
Yeah, as soon as she hears the message, she's gonna be like, "What? Shush!" And just like,
That's fantastic to hear. I miss you, Cecily. And I'm very excited when we're no longer fighting on opposite ends of the world, but we're fighting together. Send.
he said send too. Okay, it's normal.
Sure.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah. What do I seem? Do I seem weird? I'm fine.
It's nothing. I don't know. I hope you get to see him again. Again soon, at least.
Yeah. Alright, well, cool. Did that. That was good. Don't tell anybody what you heard him say. It was gross, and really, just too personal, just too close. don't want to share that with everybody. So
Very personal. I mean, you two aren't like a secret or anything, right?
well, I mean, I wouldn't call it that. It's just, I don't know. We've known each other a long time and been through a lot, and sometimes people get weird about it. Him included.
I mean, weird in what way, though?
You, you know, the way Alden was looking at everything when he first came out of the Underdark, and then he kind of started looking at you that way. I mean, you have noticed that, right? Should we start there?
You know, I have my suspicions.
Well, whatever you want to do about that, it's your business. Not the point of this. It's just that I think Poe kind of looks at me that way, even though with him it's more like he was living in the sunshine his whole life, and then he found a pit to the Underdark and went, ooh, this is pretty. I'm gonna spend time with it. I don't know. He's just like a soft little water boy, and for whatever reason, he's attracted to a literal storm cloud that can shock and kill him.
Well, I mean, storm clouds are made out of water, are they not? I wouldn't say you're too opposed to one another. And I also think you're downplaying yourself a lot there, Cecily. I mean, you're a good person. No matter how many little walls you have about it.
Yeah, well, I'm good on the inside, but you gotta do a lot of digging to get there, you know?
I don't think that's true. Maybe you're not as mysterious as you think you are. And I do think that there is a lot there to love. Perhaps Poe's just want to see that. And if you respect him at all, then you'd respect that opinion of you. And maybe it means you should respect yourself a bit more as well.
Counter argument. Poe's an idiot.
An idiot that's in love with you. Works either way.
Yeah. Bad idea. Whatever. I don't know. Okay, well, definitely don't tell anyone this part. Okay. Thanks, I guess. And I will continue to talk to him in the water.
It's a good idea.
I mean, I should at least message back one last time and say I agree with him. No. Nope. I'm done. I'm walking away. Do not stop me. Don't stop me. Don't stop me. And at this point, she'll be louder than she's been this whole conversation. And so anybody that's in the lodge right now just sees the end of that. She's walking away from Carasilla with her hands held up. like she's at gunpoint, just going, "Don't stop me! I'm walking away."
Carousel is just sat there. She's not even doing anything. She's just looking at you, Cecily.
Keothi is going to lean over to you, Suni, and say, "Do you think that's about Poe? I think that's about Poe. She's been...
It's definitely about Poe.
She and Carasilla have been stood there for the past 20 minutes going back and forth about using sending.
Couldn't be anything else.
She's definitely not talking to Odin, that's for sure. Mm-hmm.
Ajax
All right.
just over there, just watching Cecily.
Everyone in Lodge is realizing it.
Yeah.
I love the idea that it's a big room, but it's just full of them, so it's not really that like hard.
Yep.
Bianca like comes in through the door and
Yeah,
just sees
Cecily's
Cecily.
yelling, walking away.
Yeah. Okay, go where you need to go.
Yeah, I will.
Oh, okay.
She's gonna go. She's gonna go.
Keothi looks to you, Suni, and goes, "Oh." She just yelled at Bianca.
Ajax slowly leaves the room.
Oh,
There's a
God.
storm coming.
Oh, is there now?
Lightning starts to like sort of buzz around Cecily.
Yeah, she's definitely gonna take a moment outside, and she's just like very red, and just like
Oh.
shooting beams, just like at the ground, just like, God. Oh, okay. All right. She'll come back at some point.
Cool. I hope.
She leaves the
She's
party
gone.
forever.
So she's finally
Cecily has
embarrassed
permanently
enough.
left the party.
She's
Wait, that's
mortified.
Oh, man. I imagine
funny.
when she does eventually come in, Carousel hasn't moved, and when she does walk in through the door, Carousel will just hands.
When that happens, 10 minutes later or whatever, she's going to scoff and flip you off and walk to the other end of the room.
Too funny.
Funny.
Alrighty. So, the day continues to pass, and eventually, the evening arrives. Say that Cecily, you receive a message from Emerald. He says,
I am very sorry to inform you I will not be able to arrive in Maester until tomorrow evening. Something has pulled me away that I can give further detail on when I arrive. I need time to rest and recuperate. I've been injured, but I will be okay.
Whoa. Well, I've heard you're made of glass, so please take care. I'll see you then.
alrighty. So you now know Emerald will be here tomorrow night. So you have the rest of the evening and all day tomorrow to do whatever you need to. If that's nothing, we can just skip ahead, but there's time. So let me go ahead.
Ajax has one thing.
Ajax, would you like to do your thing this evening or tomorrow afternoon?
It'd probably be later in the night, probably.
Okay.
Maybe during night's watches.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll say that during that night's watches, what do you want to do?
I want to find Suni. Wherever Suni is.
Okay, cool. So yeah, do you just want to take one of the watches with Suni?
Yeah.
Or catch
Yeah,
him
if
before
Suni-
bed?
No, if Suni would allow him,
Yeah,
then he would.
watch it up.
Okay, cool. So Suni and Ajax, and obviously the party you organize these the watches, and Ajax wants to be a part of one with Suni. So all of you head to sleep. Suni and Ajax, you start on your watch.
I think Ajax is he's not really making eye contact with Suni or looking up at him. But he says,
Suni, you know you can trust me, right? I hope you can.
Suni will look kind of surprised by the question, and will not making eye contact, will say, "Of course I know that."
The other night, evening, when all of you came to the forest, you watched over Carasilla and I when we were speaking. Why?
If I tell you truthfully, you gotta believe me, okay?
Of course.
It's as simple as the others went back and I didn't want Carasilla to walk alone.
Can you confirm something for me?
Whatever you need.
I think I know. But I need someone to tell me.
And he looks up and looks at Zuni.
What am I?
I was afraid to have this conversation. Not that I don't think you can handle it, because I think you already know the answer as well. But you're undead. Not really alive, but not really dead. It makes you smell disgusting. It's not your fault, it's just my nose, but
Thank you.
no offense.
No offense taken. I figured as much.
I don't know if this is on my end, but I can't hear anything you're saying if you're talking.
Hello. Can you hear me?
You're so faint. Is that just me, or is everybody having this problem?
No, I can
think
hear
it's
him.
just You, yeah.
Oh, maybe my...
Turn him up, maybe.
That's really weird. Okay, yeah, everybody's quiet for me. I don't really know how to fix that, because, like, the music from Forge is still really loud.
Turn us
I'll
up?
just turn it down on there and turn my computer up, I
Yeah.
suppose. Okay. Wait, here, talk. I'm so sorry, talk again.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello.
Okay, good enough. I don't really know what happened, but...
Well, here in a second it's probably going to go back to normal, and then your ears will start ringing.
Yeah.
Ajax will say,
Thank you. And I'm not sure how this happened. But truly, I mean no one any harm.
I believe you. I know you don't. And I know it's not always up to us. Not just you. Not just me. Some things are out of our control. And like you said, to move past it, we need complete trust. And I completely trust you. I'm sure I would be dead if you weren't with us. And I know you've not been with us long, but I'm sure I would die if you weren't with us now. You have 100% of my trust. And I know the group feels the same. But do know that when we watch out for you, even if it feels like judgment, I promise you, it is always love. And you promised us no more sneaking off, and so I'll promise you on behalf of all of us, no more sneaking up on you.
Thank you, Zuni.
Of course.
I'm glad that I'm back.
Me too. It wouldn't be the same without you around.
Well, now we have to figure out how to mask the smell.
I don't think, I don't know. I don't assume anybody else can really smell it. I think that's a me thing. Maybe others like me, but I'll also let you know now that you give off, and this is not like just me looking at you. I cast a spell the other day and everything. You're giving off a weird, evil, underlying energy, and I don't think that's your fault, and I don't think you're evil. But it's some of it is seeping out of you. So if somebody casts a spell like the one that I cast, they would be able to tell that. You're not evil, though. I know that.
Others possess this magic to see the aura, so to speak.
I would have to imagine that if I can, others can, yes.
Is there a way to mask it?
DM, does Suni know of, or can he think of a way to, like, mask the smell or the aura? Is there a way to counteract that? I doubt, like, casting, like, lesser restoration or remove curse or anything like that would help.
There are ways to dampen that aura.
Mm-hmm.
But you would probably have to go to a pretty shady place to find it, because they are devices typically used by evil entities to mask their appearance. Typically, good creatures do not do that. So it is possible. Maybe, we can say that casting lesser restoration once per day for maybe a few days will remove the undead scent from him. But it'd be, primarily not mechanical, but the opposite.
Right.
Aesthetics.
Yeah.
Okay, so Suni would say, I don't know if you really knew this about me, Ajax, but before I was involved with this whole group, I was part of a group of thieves in Giant's Bridge. And I think I remember my mentor telling me once about I don't even know what it was, some sort of monstrosity, not like a literal monstrosity, but just like, I don't know, some evil thing he saw that came to him in search of something similar, something to hide that. And I remember him talking about it, but if it's something that he was dealing with, I don't know where or how to find it. He had connections all over. I could reach out to him and ask, but I don't know if
No.
that's something that he even has in his possession.
You don't need to do that.
In fact, I don't even know if he's alive anymore.
My concern is if this might warrant and want detention.
I think that the people who would be able to tell will have more than one method to find out who we are.
I just don't want to put anyone in danger.
You put us in danger by not being around. You stick around, you keep us from danger. Not to put that pressure on you or anything, but
No pressure.
good.
Thank you for talking with me, Suni.
Of course. And I know that you're gonna be up all night, or most of the night anyway. I had something that I want to take care of before we leave. And I think I need somebody who I trust to watch over me while I do it. Could you keep an eye out for me?
Of course.
Okay. And Suni is going to... I don't specifically remember what the ritual was that Sultana was telling him about reaching back into the past, but he is going to start that ritual.
Okay. Yeah. So really all she told you was to find a sense of comfort. Find a connection you have to, whether it be the world around you, to your past lives, to whatever it is you think tethers all of your lives together. Focus in on that thing and just follow it.
Okay. I think Suni is going to think about in the first few weeks after they were in Summer's Rest, a moment where they were like camping, and maybe he and all of the group were like laying out on their packs, like looking at the stars and being around, and just everybody falling asleep and being safe, all of that, and that's his comfort moment, attaching him to the earth and the people around him.
Okay. So, Suni, you go with Ajax. You find a small patio or garden very close to the party that you can go out to connect with that area. And you can feel yourself almost begin to sink into the earth. Not literally, of course, but you can feel that line begin to appear. And it's up to you to follow it if you'd like.
He will.
Okay. Suni, as you focus in on that feeling, chasing it, that lying on your pack, looking up at the stars, surrounded by your companions, you look up. And you look to your left and to your right. And you can see that the thing that ties each Suni together, it isn't that connection to Elowin. That's just a conduit, a catalyst. The thing that makes Suni Suni is that love he has for those around him, the connection, the bonds he forms with his traveling companions. You begin to see these mists of memories around you as you look to your left. In the cot next to you, instead of where Poe maybe once was, it's another man that you can't recognize. But you feel this deep bond with him. You look to your right. The area has changed. You're in sandy dunes. But the woman to your right, it's not Bianca, but you can tell whoever this person is in this part of the world, you have such a deep connection with them. Back and forth and back and forth. This mist of memory surrounds you. As eventually you feel pulled back even further than that. And I'm going to test something here real quick, just because I'm a dummy-dumb. I didn't test it beforehand. Is this working? And this is supposed to be voice mod.
Yee.
That's great. Okay, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Glad we figured that out, and we have no answers. So, Suni, you follow that thread back further and further and further. Through ages, through seasons, through millennia. Until eventually, this mist of memory, these ethereal realms shift and whirl. Eventually, you settle on this figure of immense grace and awe as it begins to take shape. You see this incredibly long and thin bronze dragon, its scales shimmering with the very essence of time and knowledge. Its eyes are like twin orbs of ageless wisdom. The dragon's voice is both melodious and commanding. You can see it drifts through the ages and it speaks directly to your very soul. This connection, this is the origin. This is your origin. And you feel so incredibly connected to it, but there's something stopping you from fully reaching out and fully grabbing hold. As Suni the First, Suni the Dragon, begins to speak. You can see his eyes gleam with pride and sadness, knowing the burden he thrusts upon you. You can see the eyes that have witnessed millennia of things. Its wings that have soared through countless skies. It gazes upon you again, Suni. And it says one more thing.
In the vast tapestry of existence, threads weave together around the boat, forming patterns beyond all comprehension. Before me stands a soul intertwined with mine, a thread of shared destiny. Ask, O seeker of the ages, your single question, and let the wisdom of lifetimes pass.
So, Suni pretty much giving you one question to ask.
Okay. I gotta be completely honest. I was in the best way possible, very shook by that voice mod. I only got about half of what you said both times.
Yeah.
So if you have something that you could post or send to me so that I can read it, that would be fantastic.
Abridged, I'll give you, because that's a lot to read through. In Akai City, so the capital of Clan Akai in Adarashi, underneath the city there is a vault of dragonkin. Within that vault, you'll find the secret to be able to connect to your past life and to fully embrace your past life. This initial form. In order to do that, though, you need to spread the ashes of Bahamut. For, as he said, if Bahamut still lives, the door will never open. But he also did say spread the ashes of Bahamut. So, says that. That was the first thing. And he said that if you are able to unlock the door, if you're able to go through it, embrace this past, your destiny will be of your own forging. And the other thing he said is that since you've come to him, since you've made it this far, with all of the knowledge he has of the world, your experiences of your past lives, he's giving you the opportunity now to ask one question.
Oh god, that's so hard. I have a list of questions and I have to... Oh god. He will ask, why were you, or we, or I, oh fuck, I don't know. Why is it us who has been here for this long?
You can see the this draconic form, this past life of you, Suni. He thinks for a moment, and he begins to speak.
In the vast depths of cosmos, there are certain souls that bear a light that refuse to be extinguished. Ours, dear son, is one of such luminance. Throughout the eons, we have chosen to return. Not because of whimsical fate, but due to a purpose grander than a single life can fulfill. Every stanza of an epic poem, a note in a symphony that spans the epochs. You exist across all ages, not as a mere plaything of destiny, but as a beacon of hope, change, and resilience. Your journey is both a responsibility and a blessing, to shine, to challenge, to mend, and to inspire. With every light, Suni, we touch countless souls. We weave a legacy that ripples throughout time. Embrace the truth, and let it guide you in understanding your profound place within this universe's grand narrative. We exist because we are so many other people. We shine bright with the Creator's light.
Suni is very awestruck by what he just heard. Thank you for your wisdom, and I hope I will be able to speak with you again soon.
You can see he nods. And you can see the thin draconic form begin to slide around you, almost embracing you. You can feel threads and tendrils of lightning cling to you, not out of pain, but the spark of a connection. As you open your eyes, Ajax, you see Suni is clinging with this bright blue light all around him, but eventually begins to sizzle and fade, leaving the two of you sitting in the clear moonlight out underneath the stars.
It seems as though you had answers.
Some. As much as I could have ever hoped for. I spoke with my original self just briefly, but I feel already clarity. And he looks like he's about to cry. I think we said that Dragonborns can't really cry, but he like not like sad crying, but like just all of the emotions crying. Thank you, Ajax.
Do you want to stay here for a while?
Yeah, that would be nice.
I'm glad you got answers, Suni.
And hopefully a way to get more.
I think Ajax will kind of just hang out with Suni, and whenever he's ready to go back, he'll accompany him.
Yeah. So Suni would spend a lot of time just kind of looking up at the moon and the stars before, I know, probably not too awful long, until whenever the next person would want to watch, if anybody else is watching with Ajax next.
Okay. So, we go through the next evening's watch. We can just skip through it unless there was anybody that desperately wanted to have a conversation. Nope. Okay. So, we move from the watch. We head into the day as we move away from night. And the day is yours. If nobody else has anything they want to do on this day, Emma will be here later in the evening. Nope.
Nope, I don't have anything.
Not
All right.
I.
Beautiful, beautiful. Love to hear it.
So, right, nobody has anything. I didn't mean to cut anybody off there.
Yeah, I'll just, Cecily just wants to say a quick goodbye to Tyr once we're actually ready to go. That's it.
Well, he's
It's
coming
like
with you.
a minute. Oh, he's coming?
Yeah.
I must have misunderstood. I thought he was gonna like pop over once we did the Heimdall thing or something.
No, he's gonna come with you. He's just gonna stay in the tower, just in case anything does go wrong. That way, he's not too far away.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, you do find him. Eventually, he does arrive, not wearing his armor. Obviously, Cecily, you're wearing that, but he's wearing something that is suitable just in case combat does happen. And you can see there is this large spear that he carries that he seems to have made himself, and what looks to be a smaller buckler braced against his forearm. You realize that it's a normal sized shield, but on his forearm it looks like a much smaller size, like a
Right.
Shaq holding a
parrying
Coke
shield.
can. Yeah, exactly. So with that, you await until eventually Emeril does arrive through the teleportation circle near the Kabdar dwarves. So all of you gathered down there. He greets all of you, and you can see there are a few cuts, scars across his neck, across his face and his arms. The cloak that he wears is tattered and singed a bit. You can see Sigrun is similarly freshly scarred as they exit and say, Emeril says, I'm very glad to see all of you are all right and nothing too terribly has happened since our last encounter.
We've just been chilling. What happened with you?
Yes, that was something I was going to explain. There is, I believe, due to the crack that has formed in the sky, there are new types of shadow spawn that are working their way into the greater world, this material plane, and in some of the planes that are further away. These creatures I had seen when I was deep within the Astral Sea, where the Forerunners rescued me from. Kjovazin is what they are called. They are these awful undead dragons, spawn of Lorokan's great mount. They take a piece of Lorokan's dragon, whether it be a scale or a bone or a bit of flesh, and through the necromancy that is available through the Dark One, they turn it into some strange, awful amalgamation that is fueled by shadow. And there were a pack of them that were under the command of Ahriman and Kaldaraz. Sigurd and I were able to fight them off and discover more about Ahriman's location, but it seems as though he is quite evasive. He's very familiar with that land. Long ago, he used to be a ruler of the land when he still had those powers. Part of the reason why Cassius ended up in the situation he ended up in. But that is neither here nor there. I'm doing what I can to stop one of the Forsaken, and hopefully all of you will be able to find out more information about Forsaken in Atarashi. Sure, if Draven hunts there, they can't be far. I have spoken with my friend in Atarashi, and he knows of all of your arrival. So, Cecily, I will give you the runes, just so you have them on hand. I will cast the spell for all of you, and you'll be on your way. Is there anything you wanted to share with me before departing, or are you just ready to go?
I think I'm ready to go. Sounds like we got a lot to wrap up before it gets even worse.
Very good. The individual that you'll be speaking with, his name is Alaric. He was a student and professor at the College of Hearthcrest for a time before eventually departing to Atarashi for his own independent studies. I should let you know right now, Alaric is a necromancer. He isn't evil. He isn't a bad man. He uses necromancy in ways that is helpful. And he's made several enemies from it, but I promise you the undead under his command will do you no harm.
Well, he's sort of like
Bolorolos, yes. The Yes, the headmaster of necromancy. Bolorolos is the one who expelled him from the college, though, so...
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yes. But, as I said, Alaric is a good man, and he will give you as much comfort and as much room and as much space as you need, and he will be very accommodating to what you need to do. He is aware of the Dark One, and he is aware of your involvement in that fight. So, no need to be secretive around him, as much as you wish, but he is on your side. All right?
Okay.
Does he know about me?
I will... Give me 1 second. Slip my mind. And you can see he casts Sending again, and he just says, Alaric, I just wanted you to know one of the Wanderers, due to a resurrection ceremony, is undead. I hope this isn't an issue. I don't think it would, he says to you, but better to let him know than to not. I got in trouble with the wardens one time for sending them to a mage without giving heads up first. Oh, okay, right. No, he is very all right with that. In fact, he's very, very, very excited to meet you especially. So, good luck in Atarashi, good luck hunting down Draven Hunt, and should you encounter any Forsaken, be careful.
Well, I guess on that point, Lorikhan is also in Atarashi, alongside Draven, naturally.
So then he's returned. That is not good, but if he's returned now, it means you have an opportunity to end it now. So that's good.
Hell yeah, Amaryl. That's what I was saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, be extra safe then. Well, here, before you go, if that's the case, you know for sure there is a Forsaken there. It would be remiss for me not to give you something to keep you more safe while you're there, just in case it comes down to it. And you can see that he reaches into a small bag, and he pulls out what looks to be a string of small gems tethered to a bunch of different chains, and he whispers a small word into each one, sort of imbuing it with magic, and he hands one to each of you, including Suna, and says, within there, it is not a great deal of magic, but it could turn the tide. Within each one of those amulets is the spell Bless. No concentration required. 1 minute to give you, hopefully, a little bit of extra divinity to get through whatever you need to get through. Only one use, though, so please, use it when you need it. Right. And with that, you can see Keothi is down here as well, and Sensuna is going with you, and the wilderness all around Maester and Damara City and Fort Ivar, and I mean all of the Old Kingdom has begun to grow and blossom. She says to all of you,
I know it might be hard to accept, but I've tried to make it no secret that I'll be staying behind. I think Suna will be a great help to all of you in Atarashi. And I need to stay behind with the Goliaths to make sure that the groves that have sprung up due to Kalu and Kathos, and the Kalu Kathos entirely being free, to make sure that whatever has happened is maintained and kept safe by the Goliaths. I've already sent word to the Hearthstone. There's a mass exodus. They're coming to the Old Kingdom, to all of Bella Clara, to help in whatever way they can. It's best that I help them through this. Good luck to all of you.
There's no one we could trust more with this task. Thank you, Keo. And Suni will give Keothi a hug.
oh yeah, Keothi will squeeze you tight and hug you too. And she'll, even after, when she sets down Suni, she'll sort of look to the rest of you. And just kind of...
She's getting a hug,
Oh,
yeah.
no, she immediately, after hugging Suni, goes in and with the massive tree trunk arm, she just scoops all of you in and just... Well, she doesn't wrap around Ajax. She kind of uses one hand to pull Ajax in. And the other arm is able to wrap around everybody. And as all of you hug, she looks to all of you and smiles. And with that, Emerald smiles at the moment too, and then says,
All right. Well, this is it. Good luck. And stay safe.
and as all of you step on the teleportation circle, any last words?
No.
Okay, you see him, eyes begin to glow, veins under his skin begin to shift in hues of purple and green and blue, as eventually there's this expulsion of magic from his hands, as all of you teleport. The first thing you hear is the wet and moist dripping noises of a cave that you flash into. You can see there is a swath of light that is flooding into this cave. The runes underneath you glow as eventually they dim, and there are forms standing around you. And for a moment, some of you immediately recoil, ready to attack at the things that you see in front of you. But then you see that they don't move to attack you. You can see there is this individual standing in front of all of you, a skeleton. He wears very, very fine robes of white and red and gold. He does not smile, for he has no skin on his face too, but in a welcoming yet chattery tone, he says, "My master is very pleased to welcome you to his tower. If you would please follow me out of the cave, I will take you to the tower where you may get acclimated to your lodgings. If you have anything you wish for me and my brothers and sisters here to carry, we would be more than happy to assist you in that." You can see a collection of undead creatures, zombies, and skeletons. They begin to move forward, all dressed very similarly, well kept. None of them have slopping off flesh. For the zombies, their skin is sort of a pale green. Their hair is a little patchy, but they don't look to be gruesome undead. They're well kept. The same way that, somebody working in a morgue would prepare bodies, it seems as though he does a similar thing, the master of this tower, Alaric.
Soon he holds his nose.
Yes, a paladin. We are very sorry for the smell. If Alaric knew there was a paladin coming, we would have taken the necessary steps to cover the scent. Many apologies. Master
No worries.
Kalukatho, correct?
That's right. No worries, though. It's not your fault. It's mine.
Oh, many, many, many apologies. We will be sure to cover our scent upon our next encounter. If there is nothing you wish for us to carry, we would be more than happy to lead you to Alaric's tower.
Cecily... Cecily's just gonna turn to Tyr and be like, I just want to let you know, if you stay with us, it's gonna keep being like this.
I can tell.
That's it.
Okay.
Did you hear that, Suni? They know how to mask the scent.
I was thinking the same thing. Hopefully we can get you in on that action.
It's odd that I fit in here now.
You're still the coolest one out of all of them, so don't worry.
Thank you.
Me walking.
Okay. All right. So all of you follow the skeletal servant, and as you exit the cave, you see the tower of the wizard. You can see off in the distance there are these large karsts, these like jutting out fingertips, these massive, skinny and tall mountains with different large trees sprouting off of them. Every once in a while, not very common, you do see those cherry blossom trees, the pink petals sort of floating down and falling into the water. As you see, standing across the bridge, having just stepped out, a very large human man. You can see he has a finely trimmed beard on his face. Both of his ears are pierced. He wears these bright robes of purple and gold and teal with this white shirt with this poofy collar, as he has this huge smile on his face and these arcane devices across his belt and sort of hanging down from his neck, as he says, "Well, hello! It's very, very, very nice to meet the wanderers of the Salamander coast. Emeril has told me a great deal about you, and I'm very excited to get to know each and every single one of you. Welcome to my tower in the great nations of Atarashi. What is mine is yours. Should you need anything, let me know, and I will conjure it for you if it is within the realms of my power. Please, follow me." As all of you meet Alaric Thornbridge, and I will go ahead and share the image in the chat.
Yo, hell yeah.
I love this guy.
Oh, yeah.
I love this guy.
So with that, all of you enter into the tower, and I will go ahead and move you to the map.
Oh, we're gonna find stuff? Cool.
So as all of you enter, you came from this cave right here. You cross the bridge. He was speaking to you from this window up here. He makes his way down and around the stairs and eventually goes here. You can see the undead servants. They move into this far room to the right over here. As he says, "As I said, I am very excited to have you stay here. There are rooms that, well, not rooms, but lodgings that will be set up in this portion of the tower here for you. I would just ask that for your own safety, in the floor, what I just came from, directly below it,
is my laboratory where my experimentation is done. I ask that you avoid it, just not to disturb anything that's there. Some of the undead within those halls is still a little feisty, and they need to be calmed down a little bit, so they act a little bit more appropriate, like Ossian here. Ossian is, Ossian, I like to consider my uncle of a sort. He's quite old, although you couldn't tell from the bleached white bones. Doesn't look well, bleached white bones is a sign of a very, very, very old skeleton, so he is quite old. But we love Ossian. He is the best of them. Been with me ever since I got here. Isn't that right, Ossian? Yes, Master Ulrich, that is correct. Thank you very much for the opportunity you've given me. Oh, don't need to be so formal, Ossian. We're around kindred spirits, I think. Well, maybe not kindred spirits. I don't want to lump you all into that boat now, but long people that are friends with Emerald, and a friend of Emerald is a friend of mine. So, welcome to Altarachi, and hopefully we can help you figure out what exactly you need to do and where you need to go. And as Ulrich looks to all of you with a smile, sort of hands clasped together, ready to help the undead marching out of the hall, that is where we're going to go ahead and end tonight's session. So, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I know I did. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for the Tales of Everin, Saturday for the Isles of Avarion, or next Tuesday for the Adventures of the Salamander Coast. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.